and that rumoured news is now official. Pep Guardiola has extended his contract at Manchester City for a further 2 years. This is the UK press. Pep rally, Pep up for staying, City sticker. That's a nice one. Guard of honour, it won't end in tears, T-I-E-R-S. And Pep's blue deal as well. Obviously, his current deal was due to expire at the end of this season. But let's hear from the man himself. Here he is talking about his extension.
Simple as that. Don't tell me the reason why. Maybe the 4 defeat was the reason why I felt that now I cannot leave. Right now, myself and my staff and my friends, I think we deserve to be here. So I'm sorry to say. So I'm not arrogant to say it, but it's the truth. So I think we deserve the chance to, after 4 defeats in a row, to bounce back and try to turn the situation. And in that moment in the period, so I had the feeling that you had to take a right decision for the future, and I want to take it. Since I would say in the beginning of the season, I was thinking a lot. There was a moment that so I want to be honest, so I thought that it should be the last one, because every time is, but in the same time, the moment the situation comes and the problems you have in the last month or the other one, I felt now is not the time to leave. I wouldn't let the club down, I would say, and of course, with another manager, and I said many times, with another manager, the structure is there and will work. But I felt the confidence from the chairman, from Chiki, from Ferran, for everyone, and I said, okay. I had the feeling that I have to do it.
Stewart Robson is now joining us here.
Was he happy because he signed his new contract, or because the international football is over once again?
Well, I see you back in here in the studio.
Well, you may have noticed. You may have noticed. I popped my head up on Sunday, and then I went back into hibernation till it was all over. But look, that was one of the uncertainties hanging over the club. Maybe it was one of the reasons why they've been a bit slack on the field. I don't think so, but it's certainly it was something some of the players would have been thinking about. And let's see if they get a reaction. He mentioned it, the 4 defeats, the fact that it's a real battle in the Premier League this season. Liverpool have started fantastically well, and let's see if City get a reaction, which they normally do from this manager. But this is good news for City, not such good news for the other teams, because if he was to leave, then, yeah, a good manager would come in, but would they be as good as they have been? I don't think so.
Looks as though he wasn't ready to go just yet, Robbo. That's what he's saying.
He's the best coach in the world, and you couldn't see why he would want to go at the moment. And if he did go, as I said, he's a great manager. Where would he go? Because he probably won't go back to Bayern Munich. He could maybe at some point go back to Barcelona. He wouldn't go to Real Madrid. Manchester City is the best option for him by far. And he's done a magnificent job. And I'm sure he's going to get this team going again. And he'll prove everybody wrong in the last few weeks that Man City can still win the Premier League. They can still win the Champions League. And they could be an outstanding team this year and next year. He's by far and away the most adventurous manager and the best coach in world football at the moment.
With it being official now, Stevie, what type of boost does that give to the players that they've already got and the players that maybe would have been wondering about what their own futures would look like if he were to go?
Well, there's no question that from the football side of it, the playing side of it, all the coaches, all the staff, even the academy staff. I mean, actually, I think I said it the other day, the whole building will have now taken a breath and settled down, because every single thing that happens at that football club, a lot of it depends on whether he's there or not. And so the fact that he's staying means that everybody can just take a deep breath, settle down, and know that regardless of what happens this year, next year we're going after it again. That's great for everybody.
Do you think go on?
No, I was going to say, when he walked in that door at the Etihad at Manchester, if they'd have thought they were going to get 10 years out of him, they would have jumped at it. Because it's not quite Wenger-esque or Ferguson, 20, 25 years, but in this modern day, if you can hold on to, as Robbo said, the best coach on the planet, certainly in this era, then that's fantastic. So, there's nothing else to say apart from it is great news. The big question was his desire still there to go again? They've been so successful. I suppose the Champions League, again, is another big one for them because of what happened last year. Not winning it when they were looking strong, obviously won it the year before. That has to be a push. The fact that Liverpool he's got another manager to fight with in Arne Slot. So there's lots out there for him. But I'm almost sure once this contract is up, I don't know if he's mentioned it or not, that's probably going to be it, certainly in Manchester. But, you know, it was one small thing for the other coaches out there and the other teams, if he did leave, to give them a little glimpse. But it hasn't happened, and, you know, their playing squad needs to be... I mean, he's done it before, you know, Company, David Silva, one or two others where, you know, they thought, oh, how are they going to replace him, Fernandinho? And he's managed to churn that out. I think he's going to have to maybe do that again over the next 12 months or so, particularly with Rodri being out. And, you know, there's been a bit of talk about Rodri, even when he's fit, that, you know, Real Madrid, they are going to be lurking around. There is no doubt they are going to be lurking around because they are missing that kind of player in that key position. So, you know, there's a few battles that he and City are going to have to fight, not just on the field but off it. But in terms of if you're a Man City fan, this news doesn't get any better.
That's an interesting point that Craig brings up, Robbo, when it comes to the players that he's let go before. Like, who's he going to allow to let go now? Because you think of, there's a big crux of those players who've won so many of those major trophies with them. But there's talk of the future of the likes of Walker, Stones, Edison, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. Is Pep going to let one of these big-name players go in this 2 years that he's got now?
Well, he might well do, but the two players that I think are going to make a big difference when they do go will be Walker, because he gives them that pace at the back when other players haven't got the pace. You know, if they lose John Stones, I don't think that's going to be a problem for them. But somebody like Walker has been outstanding for them, whether he's played at right back, whether he's played at right-sided centre-half, and he's the player, when they play this high line, he's the one who can recover. And you go to Kevin De Bruyne, it's very difficult to find a player as good as Kevin De Bruyne who's going to pick out the passes for the likes of Haaland and the other forward runners. He's been an outstanding player for them. Those two players are very, very hard to replace, as Rodri is at the moment, because they don't have the air of authority in midfield.
But they did manage a big chunk of last season, Robbo, without Kevin De Bruyne, and had pretty good success. And he came back into the side and he looked sharp at times, and then at other times, you know, he looked a bit heavy-legged, as he did at the Euros, the Cup final at Wembley, the All-Manchester Derby. He was struggling in that game. So I think the reliance on Kevin De Bruyne is not that it once was. I mean, not that he's not going to be a star turn every now and again. I just don't think we're going to see, 40, 50 games out of him where he's running the show.
But obviously he's going to have a big say in the recruitment if they are able to bring certain players in, because those next transfer windows now for Man City, they're going to look interesting.
Yeah, and one of the beauties of being at a club for so long is you see all of those players we've been talking about coming to the end. You've seen them at their best as a coach, and you, above everybody else, will see when they're on the wane, and that's when Pep Guardiola comes into his own. In terms of talking to the people behind the recruitment, who he's looking for, what kind of player he's looking for, and then when he looks at the younger players. I mean, he's already brought Simpson Pusey in this year. OK, it might have been because he had to, but the kid hasn't done well. So, Pep's in a good spot. He knows he's going to be here at least next year. And he absolutely knows that the Kyle Walkers and the De Bruynes are past their best. Seems a little harsh on Walker, but the truth is he is past his best, although he still does a great job for them. So if there's one guy who can particularly go into next year and then leave the club in a solid foundation, will be what they do, not in January, but in the summer. He'll go and strengthen that team next summer 100%. I think if he gets everybody fit, he'll still manage to get a tune out of them all. But I think the City you see next year, I think, will be a completely different one than what we see this year.
He saw it with Raheem Sterling, didn't he? Saw it with Gabriel Jesus. He saw Zinchenko wasn't good enough.
He's ruthless. He'll get rid of him.
I mean, I suppose you could look at Cole Palmer and say, they could have, maybe they missed a beat there with that guy who's done brilliant. But then they would argue, we have, other players in that position that can do as good a job. But yeah, there'll be a little coming and going at Man City. And he'll want to finish. You can bet your bottom dollar, the one thing he wants to do, like most managers, is finish like a train. He'll want to finish like a house on fire, and he's going to go for it. And that's going to make the others have to sort of up their game. And Liverpool have this season, and Arsenal are going to have to if they're going to, if they're going to get back in this title race. Because we say it every year, And maybe this is the year it doesn't happen, but City generally put a run together and put the pressure on, so expect it to happen.
So with him sticking around and that news now being confirmed and official, who's your favourite to win the Premier League title this year?
I think right now you've got to say Liverpool. You know, we're talking positively about City, but the truth of the matter is they still have half of the team injured and they're 5 points behind Liverpool. And so if Liverpool continue to pick up the points and play the way they are, there's no room. There's certainly no room for Arsenal to slip up anymore. That's for sure, 100%. Is there any wiggle room for City? Maybe. But I'll tell you what, they can't afford to lose another 2 or 3 games in the near future, because if they do, regardless of how good Pep is, and even if they get all the players back, it's going to be too much. The gap's going to be too big.
It's 5 points now, Rob. I'll put the same question to you. Who's your favourite?
At the moment, you have to say Liverpool, because they're the team that are playing the best. They've got confidence in the manager. They're playing some very good football. They're doing well defensively. They're also scoring goals. They've got a big squad, and when you see some of the substitutes that come on, they look a very, very good squad at the moment. So my backing is for Liverpool at the moment.
Liverpool.
Well, I had Arsenal to win the league. When that's going to be a tall order, and Stevie said they're not quite drinking at the last chance saloon, but it's not far off it in terms of the points. Liverpool have been the best defensively. They've looked the most solid. They've been able to make changes in the forward positions and rotate, and it's worked. But I still think City are the favourites, because they just, until somebody actually, goes the whole 12 rounds with them and gets a decision, then I'm not going to. And I felt Arsenal, this could be their season, but at the moment they're lagging. And City are clearly 5 points behind, but they're in the best position now. They have this Guardiola news. They've had the international break, hopefully from their point of view, to get some players fit, like most of the other teams. So they're still going to be, from this position they're in now, the team to beat.